What's up, everybody? Sophisticated. Back in grainy footage. 2022. First video of the year. Apologize, but it's just been one of those years where life gets a hold of you sometimes, right? I think we all know, we all fall victim to that set of circumstances. And anyways, no need to dive deep into that. Here I am, the Fist. It's gonna be a quick video, quick run through, quick catch up, little prediction, and a couple of notes to hit before we sign off. So first things first, let's do a quick recap of last week's scores. The Fist pumped P, 6th win in a row for me, and not a lot to say there. Bridesmaids defeated Reggie in a key lottery matchup there. Reggie coming up with some clutch performances. Three of his wide receivers added up to a total under 15 points, which was big for him in his quest for a lotto position. Bridesmaids 2-7, still not in any grave danger, still holding strong in that second to last position. 132-73. Township beat Democracy in another lottery matchup that has some significance. Township's now 2-7. Democracy is 4-5. 94-80 was the score. Despite Hill having 27 points, Crenny had 3 wide receivers, similar to Reggie, but under 8 points total out of 3 wide receivers other than Hill. So they came up big for Crenny in his quest for a high draft pick, because we know he's finally taken the plunge and trying to do a little retooling on the fly. Tupsky, 142 over Briz, 114. Big for the Northeast Division standings. Huge win for Tups. Brooks and Dunn, the new name for Tupper. I love these guys. I'll tell you what, that Northwest Division, those guys know how to tank. They know how to call it early on the season. They were literally tied for first place not too long ago, and they both decided time to rebuild. Time to give up the season. Tied for first. Yeah, Mahomes had a day, Goddard had a day, and tough loss for Brizzy. So Tupper's now 5-4, and Briz is, and he's only one game back in his division, and Briz is 7-2, still in first place. Watt beat the Hoff 135-111. Both guys are now 3-6, although Vanderwall's 1-3 in a row. So he started the season off 0-6. He's won 3 in a row. He's still in lottery contention. We'll talk about that later. Hoff just shit the bed. Rogers and DJ Moore had a bad game. Mangold, 7-2, defeats Miracle, doubles them up. 178-92. Not much going on there. Prugs shit pumped Slaughter, 155-66, on the back of Kenyon Drake's big game, and Adams had a huge half. I think he had 35 out of his 36 points in the first half. Slaughter's now 1-8. Prugs is 7-2, cruising in the biggest lead in any division, tied with Russ. But there's no way that the Southeast is tied up, and really the Southwest is too. 2 divisions out of this league are tied, done. Halfway through the year, done. Excellence, nice win over Russ in what should have been a better matchup, but both now division leaders Excellence now moves into first place in the division. Mixon with 55, 5 touchdowns. We'll get to the standings here. So real quick, Northwest, Von Kunthe is got a 1-game lead on Rebuild and Brooks and Dunn, 6-3. Those guys are 5-4, and then Hoff is in last place, 3-6. Von Kunthe has been playing great all year long. He's got his guys playing. He's got a good roster, and if he's healthy, he's definitely a contender, top 5 team in the league. He's got just under 1,300 points scored on the year. And, that's going to be a good divisional race down the stretch. Those 3 guys are all dangerous, unless anybody makes any drastic changes before tomorrow and the deadline. It could be anyone's division. I still think Kev has the best team there, but it's close. In the Northeast is the craziest division. This is one of the craziest divisional races I've ever been a part of, and definitely, I think, in the history of the league. It's 7-2. 3 guys tied at 7-2: Briz, Mangold, and Fist. All 3 guys are amongst the 3 out of the top 4 scoring teams in the league are all in that division. And then Slaughter's pulling up the rear at 1-8. But that's anybody's division. I know that I lost to both of those guys in the first set of divisional games, so I am in 3rd place there, and despite having the most points scored. So I need some help from other teams to try and steal a win from these guys, in order for me, or I got to beat them in the final divisional matchups. But this is a race. It's going to be a great race. Probably 3 out of the 4 best teams in the league currently, all in that division. Southwest, Russ has a stranglehold. He's 6-3. Reggie's 3-6. Watt 3-6. Powers 2-7. Not much to say there. Russ is putting up some points. He's a solid team as usual, and he's going to win that division. In the Southeast, it's the same thing. Prugs has got that wrapped up. He's 7-2. He's got a 3-game lead on Krenny, who's 4-5. Pollock's also 4-5, surprisingly, and Gordy's 2-7. Rebuilding there. It's interesting. We got 2 divisions that are pretty much wrapped up with 4 games to go. A lot has to go crazy for that. Definitely Prugs, and I don't see Russ losing that lead either. But the other 2 are going to go down to the wire and definitely go into divisional games, and they're going to mean something. It's great. It's a beautiful thing about this schedule. So the cool thing that we should look at too is lottery races. I know that a lot of these, personally, I'm paying just as much attention to the lottery race. I don't even have any firsts this year, which is rare, but it's just interesting to me. I don't know. It is a bit of a race. We've got Slaughter at 1-8. He's got a pretty strong hold at one of those lotteries. We've got Powers and Gordy both at 2-7 as well, both scoring low points, doing everything they can to put themselves in the best position to lose games. Now that's where things get interesting. So we've got 3 teams at 3-6. The Hoff, and he's lost 2 in a row, and he's fighting because he bought Debo. He's still scraping and scratching. Rogers is shit in the bed for him. Excuse me. And you've got Reggie and Mikey. Now Reggie, I think we all thought was going to have a stronger position in the lottery race, but his team's been outperforming expectations and getting a bit lucky or unlucky, depending on your perspective. And then Mikey as well is rebuilding. So you got a race there. Currently Reggie's got 12 more points than Mike, so they're tied the same amount of points, and Hoff has 70 points more than Reggie, so that's not overly significant at this point either. So a lot, this is going to go down to the wire between who's going to get that fourth spot. I can't see Powers or Gordy or Slaughter climbing out of that lottery position. So it's really, I think, a few guys battling for that final lotto. So on to this week. This week we've got a couple really big matchups here. We've got Brooks and Dunn versus Fist, which storied history there. A lot of great battles, a lot of great trades. Usually two contenders for the most part when I've been on my game. This year, I think that the edge is going to me. I've got myself down for a 20 to 30 point victory there. And I got Mikey versus Democracy. Now that is an interesting game because Mikey at 3-6, Democracy at 4-5. Neither guy really wants to win. I think that the way I looked at a quick scan, I think that Mikey's going to pull this one out in a bit of a low-scoring affair. I got 117-104, which is great news for Reggie if that happens. He'll be watching that game closely. I've got Township getting pummeled by Prugs. I've got Briz versus Kev. This is the matchup of the week. Huge bye week for both guys. Baltimore and Cincinnati both having byes, which means for Lamar Jackson for Drew, but it means Burrow, Mixon, and Andrews for Kev. But Kev's got a bit more depth. The projections I still think are pretty close. I'm picking Briz to win just based on those factors. I think that he caught Kev on the best week possible, and even though he's got no Lamar Jackson, I think he's going to pull out the victory here in a somewhere in the 130s, 132, 128, something like that. It's going to be a close game, I think, still. Then we got Slaughter versus Miracle. I'm picking Miracle here. I think that Miracle is going to actually kick the shit out of him. C-Mac and Barkley both coming back this week after buys, and I think Slaughter is going to lose that game. And then you got Hoff versus Mangold. So I think Hoff's going to lose that game as well. But I think Hoff's going to put up some points this week. I think it's going to be a higher scoring affair. But I think that Mangold's going to pull it out, double-digit victory, which puts Hoff at 3-7 and still in contention for that lottery. But the big one. So if Excellence versus Briz is the big game, between contenders, we got Pollock versus Reggie. Now that's a big game. Reggie's got to lose this game. He has no choice. He's got to lose this game. This is a pivotal game for I Am Reggie. Can his boys come together, galvanize enough to shit this bed as a team, as a whole? I'm predicting a sub 90 per team game here. True pillow fight. An epic pillow fight, I think, is going to take place this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. And then but I'm picking. If I have to do a pick, it's tough. I picked Big Easy to win, which would give Reggie a strong. It would actually move if everything goes the way I'm predicting it. It would put Reggie in the fourth position of the lottery, because that's if Mikey wins. If Mikey wins, I think Reggie slides into the fourth spot of the lottery. Then we got Bridesmaids versus Russ. I think that it's going to be not super close, but not a total blowout. But I think that Russ is going to pull it out. So that's that. We are flying. This is how it should always be. This is how I should always be: focused, prepared, ready to go, and give you guys what you need, the information. That's all we need. Trade deadline is tomorrow at noon, 12 p.m. Pacific time, November, whatever the hell tomorrow is, Wednesday. I think it's the 9th. Dues are due this Sunday. By the end of the day, talk to Mikey. Send those dues over if you haven't done already. I'm going to send out a text message to everybody for both of those issues, but that's everything I've got. Love you guys. Fist is out. Oh yeah, let's just see what happens with trade deadline tomorrow.